I'm probably not the only one who's noticed this, but the media and Hollywood seem to be focused on inducing fear and insecurity primarily. So, why? Why would there be an interest in making people fearful and insecure? So I think there are two primary reasons. Both involve sort of taking something away from you. If I can make you insecure about yourself, your life, your appearance, it's easier to sell you products. So I'll use an example. I was in a shopping mall in St. Louis about a month ago, and I noticed as I was standing in the store waiting for my wife and my mother-in-law who were shopping, one of the kiosks out in the main drag of the mall, and I watched as they approached people to try and sell them this diamond-infused face cream, and they approached a specific type of person, a person that they could play on the insecurities of. So middle-aged to older women primarily who were alone. And they would stop them and ask them about their skin and if they had problems with their skin, and leading with things to make them insecure. What's up, Mayo? And it's pretty obvious what the reason for that is. You're choosing people that are insecure, and you're pointing out that insecurity to then try and sell them a product. So the same thing is happening in the news, in Hollywood, in magazines. I show you a beautiful woman or a beautiful man and present them in such a way as to indicate that they're more satisfied with their lives than you are. So I'm selling you insecurity. I'm saying, look how happy these people are. Look how content these people are. I want to highlight insecurity in your mind so that I can then offer you the solution to that insecurity. Cola, or it's a Lamborghini, or a bigger house. I've just created a problem, insecurity. I observed the reaction you had to that problem, disgust, maybe depression, and then I offered you the solution to the problem that I created. Problem, reaction, solution. So the same thing is happening with fear. So you need to fear illegal immigration. You need to fear Russian election interference. You need to fear militarized racist police. You need to fear Trump persecuting homosexuals and minorities. You need to fear the left coming for your guns. All of these things, there's a common theme in all of these news stories and all of the national conversation that comes from the mainstream media and social media and television in general and advertisements, is that you should be insecure and I have the solution to that insecurity. Give me your money or give me your rights. I can solve the problem of border security, but it's going to take being able to stop everyone that passes me in the border states and search their car and ask them for without probable cause, without any reasonable suspicion. But I'm alleviating that insecurity. I'm doing this to keep you safe, and you're demanding it because I've made you feel insecure. Let's take Russian hacking, Russian election interference. So if I can convince you that the Russians helped elect Hitler in the United States, how do I fix that problem? Oh, well, I could use algorithms that would suppress anything that's contrary to mainstream media news sources. anything that doesn't fall in line with what MSNBC tells us is actually going on, this algorithm will identify and suppress that and block the accounts of people who are talking about things that are not approved. So if you give me control over the means by which you communicate to other people, I can alleviate that concern about Russian election interference. I'll make sure it never happens again. But what you have to do is relinquish your freedom of speech on that platform. How do I prevent hate speech? Well, you let me control speech. You let me impose restrictions on speech, and I'll ensure that nothing anyone ever says offends you, or I'll put them in prison. But what happens when you want to say something that might offend someone? What if I'm speaking to a crowd of 1,000 people? Is there anything that I can say that wouldn't offend someone in that crowd and then make me subject to that type of legislation and penalty? So I'm sure I'm not the only one that notices this trend, this fear-based propaganda, insecurity-based propaganda. And I'd encourage you to keep that in the back of your mind when you're watching news shows, and when you're watching politicians speak, and when you're watching let's say you have Twitter and you're looking at a Twitter feed, or you're scrolling through Instagram, Facebook. What are they trying to get from you? Are they trying to get your money, your clicks, or your rights? They're trying to get something from you. Now, there are exceptions to this, and I think that's why there is such a big push for online censorship. Censorship of alternative media on Facebook, alternative media on YouTube, alternative media on Steemit, on Patreon. All these platforms that are taking clicks and taking eyeballs away from the mainstream media. What we're seeing now, and it's ramping up especially this week, is efforts to silence any opposing voices. Anyone who is offering you information, information that's not been filtered through News Corp, information that hasn't been approved and greenlit by Hollywood studios. Why would there be an effort to suppress Luke Rudkowski's YouTube channel? Who gains from that suppression? Well, I think it's obvious. The pharmaceutical companies that advertise on CNN, the gun lobbyists, anyone who gains power when you lose it. So keep that in the back of your mind. What are they trying to sell me, or what are they trying to get from me by telling me this? Look for people who are not selling you anything. They're just giving you information, giving you an opinion, a perspective, and not trying to feed you a conclusion or get your money or your clicks or your rights. Take it easy, Pat.